The following is a special presentation of the First Horizon Green Sports Zone. This is the Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show. Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show, where we cover everything on the court with the Greeneville Green Devils basketball team. We'll recap the past two wins with Cherokee and Science Hill, and we'll talk about all the weather, all the postponements, reschedulements, and everything that's expected. But first, we need to go ahead and take a quick break first. We'll be right back after these messages here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone. The Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show is brought to you by Gateway Ford Nissan, Tommy's Plumbing, Pizza Inn, and by First Horizon Bank.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza Inn Brad Woolsey Show, where we cover everything on the hardwood inside of Howe Henry Gymnasium with the Greeneville Green Devils basketball team. As always, joined here with Green Devils head coach Brad Woolsey. Coach, how's it going?
It's good. How are you, Tyler?
Good. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
It's been a wild weekend / half week so far. A lot of it definitely didn't go as everybody expected. We didn't get the 6 to 8 inches, but it started a little later. It kept getting pushed back. Ended up getting out of school Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday's games get postponed, so it's been a wild week.
It has, whenever you're looking at your schedule, it's kind of like this week is kind of one of those weeks that you're just praying that snow doesn't hit. Because, sometimes, we've had a Monday, Tuesday game, and then sometimes those non-conference games tend to be a little bit tougher to get rescheduled just because everybody wants to protect their conference schedule, which is totally understandable. So, when that happened, I was like, oh no, but we're thankful that Science Hill was able to come down last night and play. And then, we've got Maryville rescheduled for February 7th for an afternoon game. So we've got things squared away as long as we can stay away from it this weekend as well. Absolutely.
Luckily, yours was pretty easy to talk about because Science Hill, you ended up getting to play that game and just pushing it back a day. Then Maryville going to Saturday, February 7th. But let's try to predict it again. I don't know what they're predicting this time. I don't know if it's 6 to 8 inches. I haven't really looked this time, but everybody seems to be more scared of this snow than the previous one. So do you think this one's going to hit harder?
I think here at the school, kind of the guy that you go to for weather advice is Kane Ballard. Of course, he's not here anymore, but people are always asking him, and I haven't heard his take on it yet. But for me personally, I feel like they've missed it enough times that they're due.
Mm-hmm.
They're due to get one right. So I'm a little bit worried about this weekend.
Yeah, and it comes at a time where, luckily, this past weekend you didn't have to worry about any conference games. You remained with Cherokee on Friday night, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But Maryville and Science Hill non-conference games, but now you've got conference games coming up. Volunteer on Tuesday, so of course that's the one that you want to get in on your regular schedule, and you also got to worry about practices being canceled too. So hopefully the snow stays away. I'd like it to. It was cool just to have one. Didn't get as much as we thought, but having all that ice, it makes you just not want to have any more weather the rest of the winter.
Yeah, ice is just a different situation than snow. I mean, I love snow. I don't like being out because of basketball, but I do love snow, love going outside, especially at nighttime, and enjoying it. But ice is a different beast.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really enjoy it. It just really causes problems, and but hopefully we'll stay away from that this week.
Let's talk about Cherokee. You got to play it on Friday night as it was regularly scheduled. You end up picking up a 60-48 win over the Chiefs for a big District 1 or District 2 3A win. So tell me about how you got it done on Friday night.
It's obviously good to get a district win, especially when you look at how the district went that at the end of last week, just with Granger beating Volunteer and allowing us to kind of get tied up again in the conference standings. But Cherokee came out and really kind of hit us in the mouth to a degree because they were knocking down shots. Number 14 was he's a really good player, Carmack, and he was knocking down shots. He was hunting his shots. I think as a team, they were 6 for 9 in the first half from the three, and we weren't bad. We were 6 for 14, but they were shooting those at a really high clip, and we really just kind of struggled getting stops in that in the first half. Weren't really staying in front of the ball like we needed to, and but I felt like in the second half that really changed, and I felt like Braylon Kidwell was a big reason for that. His on-ball defense really kind of made a huge difference and got us going. We started getting stops. They didn't make the threes in the second half, and we were scoring on the other end, and had multiple guys scoring the ball. I think Jordan maybe had 20 or so, 23. But he's just such an inside-out threat. We can post him up. He can play mid-range, and he can shoot the three. So he's a really big threat, and we've really just been, having a chance to figure out how to best use him, and he's done a great job adapting to whatever we ask him to do.
Random off-topic question: with you being the only game in the county on Friday night, was it a little bit? Was there a larger crowd than normal?
It's hard to say. We had this dance team thing too, where there were some extra guys dancing with the dance team.
Jerseys?
With jerseys, yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So, it's hard to tell whether that was county stuff. I saw, a couple coaches there. I saw some players there. So it did, I think it did give us a better gate, and just because we were the only show in town that night.
Yeah. But getting that win also, you going into it, of course, you don't have it in your mind, I need Granger to beat Volunteer just because we're so early into the district schedule. But you do get that favor from Granger knocking off Volunteer. And now with the win over Cherokee, there's a tie for first place halfway through. You and Volunteer sitting at 2-1, while Granger and Cherokee are both tied for third, a game back at 1-2. So halfway through your conference slate, how do you feel at the moment?
Yeah, you're just grateful to be in the position that we're in, that we're we're tied up at this point. We'll have a tough week next week, going to Volunteer. Granger, who's playing better, will be coming to our place, so it'll be a tough week next week. But grateful to kind of be in the mix and ultimately control our own destiny. And really, just about everybody controls their own destiny at this point, to be honest. So it's not just us, but just about everybody controls their own destiny. But it's a good place to be. Yeah,
it's anybody's ball game still. And you play last night. You play with Science Hill. You get a non-conference game here in this little stretch where you had 3 scheduled between the last 3 with Volunteer, Granger, and Cherokee, and you pick up a big 3-point win over a high-quality 4A opponent in Science Hill. Tate mentioned it last night. The first time you played them was your first game with the football guys. Now you've kind of got a little bit, you've got them back in basketball shape. You've got them back in the flow of things, and they knock off a very good Science Hill team. How good of a win was that last night?
It was a great win for us. It was probably, in terms of good wins, it's probably our best one of the year. Just the nature of it, and that it was a close game, really close game down the stretch. Had to execute, and so that's a huge win for us. And they've been playing some of their best ball of the year. Just in the last week or so, they beat Westridge by 30.
Almost beat Dobbins.
They went overtime. I think they were ahead most of the game, and maybe ended up with a couple technical fouls in that game, and in the second half that really played a role in letting things get tied up there toward the end. And so they've been playing well. So when you get a good team to come into your house playing well, to get a win is really, it's good. I think it's motivating for our kids, but I was just so proud of the way our kids handled themselves. We didn't get to practice Monday or Tuesday. We came in Wednesday afternoon right after, as soon as we could, and did as much walkthrough as we could. And their defense, they did a tremendous job defensively overall, and then offensively, not bad either. And that's probably a place that we've been getting better and better, is probably on the offensive end as much as anything, really just kind of understanding who needs to do what, when, and how to get them in position to do what they do best. And when the kids are doing that, it makes us pretty good on the offensive side of things.
You don't have to do it often, but how hard is it to play a game that you get no practice and no preparation for?
I think as a coach, you think it's really awful, and because they got to practice yesterday, we didn't get to practice. And I think it's not just not getting to practice; it's when you're coming off of, we practiced Sunday night trying to get ready for Maryville, but when you're coming off of 2 days of no activity, like that's really a scary place to be. But I'll be honest, I thought our kids played really, really well last night in spite of that, and their effort was really high, their belief was high, their connection to each other was high. And I think that's probably a good lesson is, if your intensity is there and your connectedness is there, then that's going to make up for a lot of maybe things that could be lacking. And having that connection to each other really helps you get a rhythm when maybe you haven't had an opportunity to be in rhythm because we've not practiced or played in a couple of few days. So it's kind of nerve-wracking, but man, the kids handled it so well. They did so well.
Hopefully we don't have to deal with that anymore. Hopefully this weather isn't as bad as this one. Hopefully we don't get any at all, because I know coming up you definitely don't want to have no practices going in to a tough matchup with Volunteer, trying to get that win back from when they defeated you in your own place, and then Morristown East on Saturday. We'll talk about both those after the break though, and talk about what's next for the Devils right after these short messages here on First Horizons, the Green Sports Zone.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank.
Pizza Inn presents I Ate at Pizza Inn. I ate pizza at Pizza Inn. I ate a salad at Pizza Inn.
I ate pizza!
I ate it all.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I'm inviting you to come and enjoy Greeneville's favorite hometown pizza, pasta, salad, and dessert buffet for just $8 all day, Monday through Friday. And then you can say,
"We all ate at Pizza Inn."
For over 30 years, Tommy's Plumbing has proudly served the Tri-Cities with a personal touch, because we're not just plumbers, we're family. From simple faucet repairs to full plumbing repiping, we have the experience and expertise to get the job done right. We also specialize in water heater and tankless water heater installations, helping you find the perfect solution for your home. Our technicians stand behind their work and always leave your space clean and spotless. Looking for a plumber who's fast, professional, and reliable? Call Tommy's Plumbing and let our family take care of yours.
At many dealerships, you get what you'd expect: games, gimmicks, and shady sales tactics. At Gateway Nissan in Greeneville, expect the unexpected: low prices, convenient service, and a great buying experience.
Get our Gateway exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty.
No worries for life.
You deserve the unexpected. It's the #1 reason you gotta get to Gateway.
Shop online at gatewaynissangreeneville.com.
Or take the super short drive down Highway 11E to Gateway Nissan in Greeneville.
Welcome back to First Horizons Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza and Brad Woolsey Show, where we cover everything on the hardwood with the Greeneville Green Devils basketball team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Brad Woolsey. So you get a little bit of a weekend matchup here at home at Hal Henner Gymnasium. You're welcoming in Morristown East on Saturday. Played them all the way back in December. Now you get them on the last date in January. So what do you expect whenever the Hurricanes come in on Saturday?
When you look at a team that's, in terms of record-wise, has been kind of a struggle this year. I think one of the things you're always concerned about is just how hungry a team is. And, they beat us once at their place, and so you kind of put that hunger with a little bit of belief that they have already beaten us, and it can be a bad mixture for us. And so, that's kind of what I expect of them coming in, is having some confidence, because even though they've kind of struggled record-wise, they had success against us the first time we played. And so I expect them to come in and compete. They always have great shooters. They run good stuff. So we're gonna have to be at our best to get a win.
Hopefully the hurricanes are the only weather that comes in this weekend. Hopefully you don't have any snow on Saturday.
No blizzards or anything like that. We just want the hurricanes, and that's it.
Unfortunately, it's getting late in the season too, where if you do have to postpone this one, you may not get it in. So hopefully you do get the game with Morristown East in on Saturday, because that would be a great opportunity for both teams to get a game in before they can go back into district play. And speaking of district play, volunteer on Tuesday. You've got to go to Churchill to play the Falcons, the one team that's beat you so far in district play. So what's it going to take this time to knock off the Falcons at their own gym?
I think when you look back at our first game, one thing is just going to have to be some consistency in how we played. We got to defend the post really well, like we did the last game. And then, we're ahead 5 points with 20 seconds left in that game, and we got to be able to finish that. And so we can't let guys like 23 Head come down and make plays. And that's, that onus is on players, but that onus is also on coaches to all right, we know that this guy makes plays, so what do we now need to do to make sure that doesn't happen again? And so, those are things that we gotta consider. A lot of it is you just continue to be you continue to work at getting better on both ends of the floor, and you try to hold on to those things that you're good at, but maybe get a little bit better at a couple things, and hopefully that'll carry you through. But it'll be a tough environment. I imagine they'll have a lot of people there because they've got a lot of belief this year, and I think it'll be a great environment for our kids to play in.
And I know a lot of people that are paying attention to the District 2-3A conference would probably circle this one on the calendar the most and say it's maybe the most important matchup left, just looking at how Greeneville and Volunteer are both tied at the top of the conference, and you both get each other next. Is this one more important down the stretch, or is this one just the next one on your calendar?
I think, when you think about winning and losing, winning this game is going to count the same as winning any other game. Losing this game is going to count the same as any other game. And so, all of them are big, from a conference perspective. But anytime it's the top two at this point, the top two teams in the district, it's going to be a big game, and it is, and it probably feels like it means more. But again, we got to come in and approach it just like we normally do. It's another game. It's an opportunity for us to play together, opportunity for us to compete, as guys that are connected. And that's what's special. I think before the game last night, we were just talking about that you're playing for each other, and you're playing for your city as well. You're playing for the people, you're playing for your community, and so having that opportunity to do that is something that is valuable and it's special. And so regardless of who we're playing, just that we get to put on the green and white, that we get to put on Greeneville across our chest, we believe that means something, because we believe in our community, we believe in each other.
That was the answer I was hoping for, because as we've seen through 3 games, this district is wide open. Yeah. You had the top team, who was Volunteer, and the last place team, who was Granger, end up being an upset. You've had Greeneville, of course, as we mentioned last week, a 6-year, I think, district streak snapped. So expect the unexpected in this conference so far this year. Unfortunately, there's only 4 teams, so less amount of games for everybody. For the teams, they might not mind that as much, because it's less opportunities to lose, which gives you a better chance to win the conference. But is this the more wide open that you think a conference has been in the last few years?
Yeah, any time that I would say, when it depends on where you are in the conference. I think all these games mean more, because percentage of the win, the chunk of what matters is more when you've got fewer teams. And when you've got more teams,
you can afford to lose one.
There's like, you might lose more, but there's also a chance that this other team could lose. And so I think these smaller conferences, like it means a lot more because of the fewer numbers of games. Like you were saying just about the conference, you got Volunteer beat Cherokee by 30. Then you had Cherokee beat Granger by almost 20. And then you have Granger beat Volunteer by 11. And it's like that. The math ain't mathing.
No,
it doesn't really matter. And that's when you're dealing with people and kids, and it's just part of it. And so you got to come ready to play every night, control what you can control, and believe in each other, stay together, and have a good time.
I failed to see where the game was. Where was Granger and Volunteer played?
I think it was at Granger.
At Granger. So you have Granger that wins by 11 over a team that beat you all, but they lost to Greeneville by close to 20. So none of this conference makes sense so far this year through 3 games.
It doesn't. Like I said, the math don't math, and but that's basketball.
Yeah, and Cherokee's another team that I look to make some noise too. We didn't mention them in this part right here, but this is probably the most improved they've been at the last few years with Carmack coming in and just the athleticism that they have on their team. And they're scary in their own gym. I know you've got to go there later on, and we won't talk about that one just yet, but that's another road trip left on the year too. And they're a team that I don't count out either.
Oh yeah, no, they're a good team. And anytime you've got good athletes and good shooters, you're always going to have a chance. And they've got both of those. And they're a scary team. They've got good shooters, but then they've also got guys like number 5 that I kind of feel like is just a glue guy that really helps make that team go. And so they've got the pieces to really to be good, and they are good. So yeah, it's wide open.
Cherokee plays every team within Greene County, so we see them a little bit more than we see other teams outside of Greene County just because they play everybody. So I like to shout out Cherokee when I get the opportunity to. If you go by the concession stand, ask them for some popcorn and mustard. They may give it to you.
They got it. All right, I'll check that out maybe. Again, it'll depend on what I need at that point, but I may try that out.
All right. Coach, is there anything else you've got to add?
I don't think so. I think Kobe, mention him real quick, just how proud we are of him. And, he's a guy that's obviously on the national scene, but, we talk about what a teammate is and how much he cares about winning. And my oldest son and I were just talking about that last night. Just some things that he does that just makes you realize in some ways how little he kind of thinks of himself. He's going to just go do some dirty things and some things that are tough, but he has a lot of confidence. And you got guys that are willing to try and do some dirty things, and dirty as in good dirty.
Yeah, not dirty as in bad.
But then have a lot of confidence in play, man. It's special. So, I know they got a big win last night. Big shout out to them and to Kobe. And so.
This is something that I'll add before the end of the show too, but I like Duke basketball. But in all of college athletics, I'm a Texas Longhorns fan. So a few weeks ago, whenever Jacoby played Texas in Knoxville, I told somebody, and I have it on record too on text, I said, the way Texas's defense has been playing, Jacoby might walk into Thompson-Boling Arena and drop a career high. Lo and behold, Jacoby does drop a career high. So that was a weird moment because I didn't really know how to react, because you've got a player that played here in Greeneville that I covered and that I spoke to and interviewed, and he's just torching my favorite team for a career high. So that was a feeling that I don't know if anybody will ever have the and it's not really, I don't know if it's a privilege to feel it or not, because you're happy for the kid, but man, just lighting Texas up like that, it was a certain feeling that I never thought I'd feel.
Yeah, well, I'm an Auburn fan. Our family has been Auburn fans.
Yeah, you got to win over Texas last night.
Yeah, but this is more about, they play Tennessee on Saturday, and so it's Auburn, Tennessee, and my uncle used to take me and my brother to UT games with some members of the Lost Mountain community. We'd load up in my grandfather's Lincoln Town car, and we'd make the trip to Knoxville. and might stop at Shoney's, you know, to eat a little something, but we go watch. And I bitterly did not like Tennessee because, you know, it seemed like every time we went, Auburn would lose. But I say all that to say that Saturday night I would be unabashedly orange and white in that particular one. So yeah, we wish them luck there.
You might have a different feeling than I did, because if Kobe drops a career high against your favorite team when you coached Kobe, that's a different type of feeling right there.
That is a different. So we're, you know, it's like I said, I've never stood up and cheered for Tennessee, which is it's weird, I know, but this year I have. It's been kind of fun. You know, you get to kind of do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And, so it's been a fun thing. But again, we're just proud of what he's doing, and and not just what, but the how, because the how you do it, I think in life is as important as what you do. And so we're glad to see that in the way he's competing and doing things at the next level.
Hey, if he's torching our favorite teams, it's a good thing, though. It means he's succeeding at the collegiate level. So it's awesome to see.
Yeah.
It really is awesome to see. But I think that's all we got this week. Hopefully no weather.
Yeah.
Hopefully stay away. Hopefully the hurricanes coming in on Saturday to Howe Henry Gymnasium is the only weather we see.
Yeah.
Hopefully no snow. If we do have a snow, just a little light dusting.
Yeah.
Give us a little half inch again. We didn't even get a half inch. I don't even know what that was.
I don't know. It was just a sniff.
Yeah.
It was a pinch of snow.
Wasn't even enough to cover the grass on the ground left from the summer.
Yeah, there was no sledding, no nothing.
Nope.
Yeah, no snowballs, no nothing. So
couldn't even make snow cream.
No.
It wasn't even enough to scoop off the table.
It's pretty brutal. Pretty brutal.
All right, Coach. That's all I got this week.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Pizza and Brad Woolsey Show. We look forward to seeing you next time here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.